working. Can you close the door for me? Once you're...
Good it'll do you, but...
I think I accidentally started the stream a little bit too early, but that's okay. That's fine. Just need to pull up the music. Wanderlust? Nope, that's not it. Let's see. Rating. Need your music, music man. Wander stop. There we go. Cool. Alright. Get some music. Well, welcome to the stream, everybody. I mean, now it's officially 8:30. So, for anyone who's watching on offline, we are going to be working on redesigning my main town for when it rains. I was looking it over and I realized I've made some work on the town itself, and it's not reflective in the current illustration I have for it. So I need to add the ice cream shop in, I need to widen the streets so I can accommodate bike paths and maybe a transit system in the middle. I'm not sure. The town itself is pretty small, so might be able to do with just a bus lane, but it might be fun to have a little trolley system in the middle. Have a trolley system that goes over to the local university and back. So then it like connects to another town. I don't know, that could be fun. Probably wouldn't need to be the most consistent thing. They could also have a university bus system that's more consistent than trolley. Trolley's just for the main street, maybe? I don't know. These are things to consider. Old photos. That was fun. And slightly bizarre too. It's always slightly bizarre. Does the stream even have a name? What is this stream? I just started streaming. I didn't do anything. What is this stream's name? Usually I like at least schedule it. I didn't do anything. I just started. Sowing a murder of crows. That's not what we're doing. I need to edit all of this. Hold on. Oh, that means my stream. Oh my gosh. Everything is messed up. Hold on. Give me a second. Created a stream thumbnail and everything. I just forgot to. Oh goodness. Blender stream, because I think we're mostly going to be Blender today. We might do some illustration, but I think it's going to be doing some work on In It Rains in Blender. We will get all of this fixed, and it will be great. In the blender. Excellent. Okay, there we go. That's correct. That's correct. Where can I find this blender file? I swear, if it's still on my MacBook, that might be a bit troublesome. Just a bit. I was looking at 2023. Nothing there. Where would this file be hiding? These are great. Oh, maybe it's year 3? What is going on here? Year 4, comic workshop. Yes! Awesome. There it was. Cool. Oh, I did put it in. I just didn't draw it. Okay. Okay, let's switch this over so you can actually see what I'm doing. Wow, that's big. That's a little unnecessary, don't you think? Let's get this in. Refit that. It'll be all nice. Awesome. Here is the downtown area. Desktop audio might be a bit loud, isn't it? Let's lower that slightly. There we go. Okay. So here is the downtown area. There is some cookie cutter buildings, I will not lie. But I think for the most part it's pretty good. What I'm concerned about is perhaps the size of things. I'm not sure exactly why this building is missing. There we go. I think I was maybe taking a picture at a closer angle. Oh, and I didn't. So, fun thing. Apparently, the Wi-Fi should be better. So ideally, we shouldn't have any stream issues this time. Which is wonderful. Because I don't know about you, but I greatly disliked when we had stream issues. I do not want to grab that. Okay, so we need to move these buildings over just a bit. And I think... I'm not sure exactly what to do with these plant pots. I think these need to be moved. Essentially, I want the street to just be a touch bit wider so I have space for some bike lanes. So, because right now we have a two-way street, some sidewalks, and I wanted a bike lane and I never ended up adding one. So I think, I don't know how wide I want this street to be though. Because it could be too much to add also add the tram system in. Do I do the bike lane on both sides or do I do it on just one side? Maybe both. I want this to almost be hostile to cars, I'm not gonna lie. Did I design this entire I did. I did not make the street easily changed. I'm just staring at it, wondering about my life choices. Well, I guess I don't need the street itself to be much bigger. I just need to make the areas a little bit more friendly for the bikes. I might be moving. Let's move those back. We can move these shops over to the left a bit. Give more space. Oh, hold on. I want everything to be in line. So we'll move everything over. Why is there a car? I don't remember moving that car. I don't know why that car exists in a building. That seems odd. Okay. Sometimes it's hard to gauge if if the location of something is good in Blender just because you don't have a good size comparison. I need a cube. Do I already have a perspective cube? I don't have a perspective cube. That's alright. We can make one. Essentially, I want a cube that is like 5'6". Everything's metric right now. How do I change that again? I just need to find units. Once I find units, we'll be golden. It's just the idea of finding it. Please. I don't want to do this again. I always do this. I always spend way too much time looking for units. No. No. I'm not going crazy, right? Is it just hidden? Where's it hidden? I calculate everything in meters. I don't know it intimately. There it is. I missed it. Awesome. Great. I want the imperial system. The imperial system. Yeah, that's good. Temperature Kelvin. Sure, why not? I'm not sure where we're gonna be using Kelvin for, but that I was about to say that's a big cube. That's not the cube. Okay. I want this to be, I don't know. Sure, we can do 6 feet tall. Maybe 2 feet around. I don't think I'm doing this properly. Yeah, I'm not doing this properly. Give me a sec. Forgot Z was up. Maybe these trees are too low. I never considered that. Maybe things just aren't at the correct level. This grass is not... Why is everything just higher than it needs to be? Sometimes the perspectives of things are off, and I never realize. Alright. Down. Cool. Awesome. The grass is acting like grass. The tree is acting like a tree. And this person is acting like a person. Oh, I think I need to scooch this little park back a bit. It's gonna be in the way. This car should not be right here. Not sure exactly what it's doing, but it's not existing as a car should. I could go over there. This also needs to move over, because I think I'm going to have the bike lane here. These flower beds might be too wide. They're all copy and pastes of each other. So ideally, maybe I could scale them. I don't know if scaling it like this is gonna work. Oh, I did have a perspective cube! He was right there. Okay. Wait, what size did I make that perspective cube? That doesn't look big enough. Maybe my perspective cube's too big. Who knows? So scale Y. Yeah, I didn't think that would work. So if scale Y that. Maybe I can just scooch the flower beds in a bit. It's not like the cars need much of a curb. Be uncomfortable. Drive slow. I think this flower box is lightly in the way of the crosswalk, actually. Well, that's not ideal. I don't know what I was thinking at the time. Maybe I should have moved those at the same time. Hold on. Let's go back, reevaluate, continue forward. It's been a bit since I've touched this file. I would explain things. I think the street's overall gonna be bigger, but I want it to be more friendly, is the goal. Make it a nice place to actually exist and interact in. Okay. Is that wide enough for a bike path? Maybe? I guess we'll see. I mean, it feels long enough. It's not as big as the road, but it's similar in size to the road. I just want to lower this down slightly so it actually feels like a road. Ah, that's right. I need to extrude this. There we go. And then I think we can just delete that. Delete face. There we go. Not sure how important it will be to have that and longevity. And I think having a little crosswalk right here, maybe? I can't remember if bike paths also had crosswalks. These are different things, and it's not letting me cut it the same. How annoying! I am just guessing if these are similar sizes. I have no idea if they are. You know, this may not be the best practice. Guesstimating on whether or not this is the... This is even, right? Right? Yeah, this is totally even. Definitely not uneven whatsoever, no. Might need to move those trees over. One task at a time, Alyssa. Extrude these faces first. Then we can fix the trees. These faces are definitely going to be important to get rid of. How do bike crossings normally work? I guess I could always just make the people crossing wider? Nope. Other way. And then we can move this over just a bit. You know, I was thinking about having flower boxes additionally on the side of the bike path, but I'm not sure if that's needed. How does, because I think I changed road colors and whatnot, so it'd actually be, you know, drawable when I did this. Wow, it is taking a long time to load. Yeah, I made this drawable. For the most part. Yeah, I did. That was one of the things I needed to do anyway. A person's not really 2 feet across, are they? So it's like 12 inches and 24. I mean, I'm a smaller person, so maybe 2 feet, but 2 feet isn't a terrible measurement size. I'm just trying to determine. Because really, though, if I have bike paths on one side, then it's like a one-way bike path, so we don't necessarily need to accommodate 2 bikes. So in this case, this is a perfectly acceptable bike width. And I know what you must be thinking, Alyssa, what about street parking? There's no street parking. We don't need street parking. Street parking doesn't need to exist. Not necessary. Oh, what if I put this all in a giant sphere? You're probably thinking, why do we need a giant sphere? Give me a second. Oh, maybe don't give me a second. This is gonna ruin the lighting. Because I'm using sun. Never mind. I was thinking I could, like, make a background color. But maybe I could do something else with that. Okay, hold on. I guess I'm not necessarily making... Oh, no. No, that's not what I want. Hold on. So if I rotate this, how many degrees? Not that way. 90? Yeah, that works. Move this out. So that way, when we zoom in, then we can have sky. Sky seems nice. That would be, skies are nice things. Also, I was considering the market that we're currently in for RAM chips, and I realized how good of a decision it was for me to have decided to get my update my PC back in 2024. Because I went a little bit overboard and got myself 64 gigabytes of RAM. And that was a very good thing, because you want to guess how expensive 64 gigabytes of RAM is now? It costs you like $600, $600 to $800 to get 64 gigabytes of RAM. I spent $171. I'm so glad I went overboard on that, because what the heck? That's ridiculous. That price jump? I guess if there was any stock market to invest in, I should have bought RAM chips. Okay, so we have the bike path. Now we can move. We probably don't need to exist in the fancy view. I can just move this over. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Move this over and see how our sidewalk space is looking. Decent, but still feels a little close. So, nope, wrong one. Move over on the y-axis, please. Maybe I need my... Get over here. I don't know how one-to-one my buildings are. My buildings might be a little bit hostile to... tall people. I don't think I measured the doors, honestly. There's walking space, but it feels kind of uncomfortable in a way that would have people walking in the bike path. Let's change that. Because this is a purely fictional town. I can have whatever dimensions I want. Still wrong one. You'd think after like 3 times I would get the hint that I need to be on the y-axis. Yeah, I think that's good. Cool. How are we looking on this side? I removed my sacrificial. Could probably move it over just slightly. I know this is so very specific. I don't want the sun, I want the tree. Nope. Why? Y-axis. There we go. There we go with that. Now that we've like widened the street more, I feel like we need more flower boxes in places. Oh, do I still have the... Hold on. Oh, I do! Awesome! I was worried there for a second. So this building and this building are not the same buildings. So let's fix that. Nope, sir. You need to be one combined object, I'm sorry. This is not gonna work if you're not combined. Let's flip you 90 degrees. Negative 90 degrees. Were you not combined with... Did I not combine you? What's the issue here? Alright. Try that again. Negative 90 degrees. Awesome. The ramp is actually moving now. Cool. And we can scooch this. Awesome. This is the ice cream shop, if you were not aware. I want it to have some accessibility ramps. I think the shop is yellow, so we'll aim for a golden yellow color. I just need it to not be white so I can actually trace it. We're not going to do the final render in here. I just need it to make sense. I think that was one of my issues last time, was I was having a hard time telling the difference between buildings. You know how hard it is to reduce the opacity of something and then not be able to tell what the heck the building is? It's very difficult. I would not recommend. Street will also change as I design more unique building types, because these are all very cookie cutter at the moment, and they could do with some personalization. Scooch this back a bit. I also need to design actual cars, because your cars end up looking boxy and van-like when your models for them are also boxy and van-like. This is looking better, though. I think I need something to help differentiate between the bike paths and the... Let me look for inspiration, specifically from... Hold on. I need inspiration for how... Let's look at Norway. I think Norway has some good bike paths. Images. I need to specify. Norway city bike paths. Okay, so they are, I guess it depends on the bike path, but most of the time they exist on the same level as the walking street, so that's not necessarily bad. I just need some actual roadway paint. I need some striping, which makes sense. I think I also want to add some more greenery in terms of plant pots existing by the sides of buildings. Also, I think this town technically exists on a hill. I have not considered that at all. There's special problems when it comes to dealing with buildings on hills, because then the buildings themselves are not, they're built level, but not to the hill. And then there's like lovely streets where they're just for bike paths. There's no cars on those whatsoever. Okay. All good things to consider. Amsterdam? Maybe. Amsterdam bike path. paths. Beautiful. Perfect. Actually, I don't like that one. That one exists right next to the cars with no way to get rid of it. Okay. These are great ideas. I should have made these different things. Let's make the bike path a different color. That way it's easier to tell what's supposed to be where. Not only for me, but for like the people living here. Because yes, I would like to draw this in a somewhat sane manner. But I think they also should have a clear distinction between what is a bike path and what is a sidewalk. I'm so far away from this. I do not need to be that far away from this. I can do the paint myself in Photoshop, so we don't need to get too anal about that. I'm very excited though to update this illustration, because this was one of my most popular illustrations. So it'll be, at least in my holiday sale when I did that. So I'm very excited to have an updated version of it. That's better. It's nice to have something that's not gray, you know? Just adds a little bit of color to the scene. I do need this to be above, though. How close is that to the... Jeez, that's close. Cool. Alright, we've got crosswalks, we've got bike paths, do I need to have the bike paths also have a crosswalk? Oh jeez, hold on. Raise that up a bit, just until it's visible. There we go. Okay. Cool. Nice little warning system. I don't necessarily want it going into the bike path like that. Let's... At least let me select multiple. There we go. Okay. Delete that, and then we can go into here. It's all coming together. Awesome. This side one's probably not all that necessary. Let's delete that one and then we can center this. That'll make things look a bit better. Wednesday has been going well. Didn't really ask at the beginning of the stream. Mine has been alright. The beginning of the day was not as I necessarily wanted it. But it got better towards the end. I visited my aunt, and that's always a good time. Alright, I think we got our bike paths, we got our streets a little bit wider. Well, now that we have the bike paths, how does the walking path over here feel? Well, they're not voted the most walkable city in Maine for nothing. Yeah, this is fine. I think for the park area, I want to have like a center section that is a natural habitat. So let's add that in. UV sphere. Let's bring this over. Scale it up a bit. Scale it wider. Scale it a bit down. Don't need it to be so dramatic. Rotate this slightly. And then we can do a tiny bit of sculpting to make it look the way I want. So we'll grab this, grab the edge. Yeah. Make it look a little bit like it's shaped like a bean. Just slightly. Eventually I'll want to build out this entire city. So I think overall I want this little park that I'm making to be a bit bigger. Essentially right here is where I want there to be a bunch of plants, flowers, shrubs, pretty things, pollinator attractors, all that sort of stuff. Hi! Welcome to the stream. I'm glad you're enjoying it so far. Has your day been going well? Core? not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Let's make that a touch bit darker green so we can signify that it's something else. Awesome. That's looking a bit more park-like, I'd say. And then I think the last major thing to do is just to add some more beautification. Let's make some planter boxes. Shift A, not. I'm thinking I want these to be circular. I'm imagining this is going to be very easy. I just need to. Honestly, I think these are scaled pretty well. Slightly bigger. And we'll go into edit. Oh, hold on. Let me pull this up a bit higher. How have you been doing stuff in Blender? It seems difficult to get into. It can be a bit intimidating, but I think once you know that practically everything can be built from shapes, it's much easier. It did help that that I started learning Blender in college. So then I had the advantage of teachers who could give me feedback. But I think, honestly, once you figure out what kind of design you want for something, like, hold on, shortcuts. If you figure out all the shortcuts, you should, it makes things a lot easier. Like knowing the general capability of the program and then all the shortcuts you need for it definitely makes things easier to do. Like right now, instead of individually selecting all of these panels, I'm hitting Control, and it'll essentially try and make the shortest path to where you're clicking from your last selected area. And then from there, hold on. I want to scale that out slightly so I can make a little bit of a rim. I slept in a bit, but it's been going all right. I hope yours has been going great too. The end of my day's been pretty good so far. Blender is definitely difficult to learn, but when you've learned how to use it properly, you can do a lot of stuff. Yes, I agree. I use it as a way to build backgrounds, because, oh my goodness, perspective and complicated backgrounds, that still gets me. I find it much more intuitive to just design it in a 3D space and then draw over it. Kudos to whoever can just draw up a nice little background without designing it in 3D, because that is not me. At least not yet. Now, this is looking a bit like a trash can at the moment. So I think in order to beat the trash can allegations, we need multiples. But another one right here. And then this one, we can make him smaller. Push it down so it's actually sitting on the floor, because that's a problem I have sometimes. Things not sitting on the floor. just me, but I find designing buildings to be much easier, buildings and backgrounds to be much easier than designing. At least I can design a character in a drawing very well, but then transferring that into a 3D image definitely takes me a lot longer than a background does. No. There's times when I run out of zoom at the particular angle I'm approaching, so I have to go back and do things differently. Lots of lights. We want this to be a pretty city. Somewhere you can go and relax and have fun. If you have any other Blender questions, I could do my best to answer. Not like the most expert, but I'm someone who's talking. So if you have any questions, I can try my best. Probably need to copy these over to the other side of the street. Wonder how I could go about adding line art to a background, not background, to a shape. Because I feel like that would be really helpful for defining some of these areas. Because if you look at this, even without the lighting, it's very hard to tell shapes from each other. So if I could move stuff around, that would make things easier. Let's copy this and then make it different. Maybe I should also have some tables outside, because I imagine there has to be at least a restaurant or two that want to have some outdoor seating. It's early fall at the time of this comic story taking place, so I imagine people would still have some outdoor seating. It means I need to build a table, though. Do I want to build a table? I should build a table. It would be nice if I built a table. Perhaps I should. Just to say I did. I don't know if I have too many other things to add. Is there anything you guys can think of that would be a good addition to the town? Like, is there anything that you would want in your little downtown city area that would just make things so much better? Oh, street lamps. I didn't even think about adding street lamps. Street lamps would probably be really helpful, actually. I didn't even think about it. But any good city center has a way to light things up. How tall would these be? What kind of street lamps do I want? There's so many different kinds. And how fancy do I want to get with this blender build? It'd be kind of weird if I just got all fancy with a street lamp. These are the kind of details I was missing from my last edition of this. Total foreign concept. Street lamps. How tall are street lamps? I don't know. They just exist, I guess. How thin are you? I don't know. How tall, how thin? I have many questions, and I could get answers. That's right in the crosswalk, actually. That is not desired. You can't have a walkable city if things aren't walkable. Let's make that cube a bit smaller. Cool. That's not in line at all. I love perspective in Blender. It's so great. I can tell exactly where things are. No problem. Never a problem. Okay, so the street lamps I'm looking at, they're tapered at the bottom. That bit there, it scales out. It's all the way on the other side. Maybe scale, nope. Extrude, nope. Sure, that works. Okay. And then we can scale G? Nope, hold on. Scale that in a bit. That works. And then I just need to have that exist at the edge. You need to be in line. The one I'm looking at has fancy little spirals. How do I handle that? How about I just put a cylinder in between it and call it good? It doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to show that it's there. There we go. Actually, I want that scale to be smaller. It's not in line. Love that. And then I can make this look like it's hanging from it. There we go. Let's make those like a golden yellow color. And we can make the rest of this pretty much black. I am guesstimating if these are the same color, because there's definitely a better way to do it, but I'm not doing it. I'm going for speed and efficiency here, and I think I included the... I did not mean to do that. Please, I just want to combine these things. There we go. Awesome. And now we can add these everywhere. Wow. How could I have forgotten streetlights? How terrible of me. My trees are kind of getting in the way of my streetlights. Oh no. In the tree. That's not very effective, is it? It's fine. People will probably be able to see with the street lights existing as they are. Maybe I should make the trees taller. Maybe that's the solution. Just make the trees taller. It's fine. I don't need to change my design. I just need to make the trees taller. This is fine. The street lamps are totally serving their purpose sitting in the trees. There's no issue. How about this? Instead of having the street lamps be at the side where the trees are, which doesn't make any sense. Why would I do that? He's in the middle instead. That makes more sense. Yeah, this makes sense. Maybe some of the street lamps exist on the sidewalk instead of right by the road. Hold on. So deselect one of them. Move him over a bit. That's right in the walking path. Don't need that. Yeah, that seems a bit more sane. I think just need a couple more and we should be good with the street lamps. Did you guys have any additional ideas of lamps, of designs that we needed? Got street lamps. This one would probably be... That's not how we move things. Yeah, that looks better. And we need street lamps by the park. Let's flip you around. I don't think that did anything. What moved? That moved. I need to actually be selecting on the correct thing. Fun fact about using Blender, if you copy and paste something, then move over, you're still technically selecting the thing you copied. You have to intentionally click on the thing that you moved in order to actually affect it. Seems kind of silly, doesn't it? It seems like a lot of lights, but I think it's important. Right. What else does a good city need? Probably benches. I talked about outdoor seating for restaurants, and I think we also need some outdoor seating. That might be important. Let's just color these trees real quick. I think I definitely need some seating. Add some benches. We could make this one orange for fun. It is fall time. Not every tree needs to be green. The entire tree, too. So we need outdoor seating. Actually good outdoor seating, not that fake outdoor seating that pretends to be seating but isn't. Those suck. Those are impossible to sit on. As a short person, I hate the lean sits. Okay. Yeah, we definitely need some benches. Let me look up a bench real quick. We can make a quick little bench. Yeah, that seems doable. So we need a cube. Everything originates from the cube. When in doubt, start with a cube. Unless you know it's going to be round, then start with a circle. Well, not a circle, a sphere. Don't start with a circle. You'll be disappointed if you start with a circle and you wanted a sphere. Like, how wide is this? Way too wide. Way too wide indeed. This one, I'm gonna... Nope, not that one. Tilt that one back. This one, I need to rotate. Let's guess X. X was correct. And we also need to... Still not Y. Rotate with X. Push this down. I think that's the general good angle of a bench. And we need some sort of... Let's start with a cube. Thanks. Push this over. Not sure exactly how I'm gonna handle this cube, but we'll handle him. How far off the ground are we? Pretty darn high. make this taller. Make this. How do I want to handle this? I could just angle these. Hold on. Push this back. Actually, I think that needs to be taller. Raise this up a bit. You are going through the chair. I do not want hostile architecture in my city, so you will need to move over, sir. Copy this, and then rotate it an 80 degrees. Yes, awesome. And then we can move this over a bit. Just having a chair. It's amazing. Just need some armrests, and I would call... Maybe we need a slightly wider base for this chair. Might be a bit unsteady. And a bit tall, too. There are several things that might be wrong with this chair. Let's delete those, because I think it'll be easier to just... I think this could be a bit longer. Scooch over. And then we can essentially just copy this to the other side. As long as I use the correct buttons. And there we go. There's a bench. How exciting. Now we can pop these all over the place. What happened there? That does not seem right. What is happening here? I just wanted to combine these objects together, and they're taking on some interesting materials. There we go. Well, some of these benches can exist in the park, because that's where benches belong. me even these out a bit. They are not quite on the center. There we go. Still quite not center. I feel like you'd want the benches facing in, but I also really like the idea of... Maybe we could have some benches in the middle. But that wasn't my idea. Nope, wrong chair. You're not allowed to spin. I need you to spin, sir. Yes. Good. Visually, I like this. I think realistically, you would probably want the bench not floating. I don't think a floating bench is desired. Unless it is desired. Maybe you do want a floating bench. Personally, I think those would be hard to get into, but... Visually, I like that. That might not be the... You might want the bench facing in. That's okay. We can have odd choices. We're allowed to have odd choices in benches. Wrong bench. I keep forgetting the rules. They don't change. I just keep forgetting them. Let's scooch this over a bit. Awesome. This is a nice little park now. Though, maybe shouldn't have floating benches. Just as a general rule of thumb. Where else should we have benches? I love that I built benches first before outdoor seating. I love my priorities. It will all happen at some point. Oh! Should do is probably I should have a way for people to store their bikes. Because if I want this to be a bike heavy city, then I need places for people to actually store their bikes when they're not using them. Bike storage racks. Street. Intriguing designs. Oh, the little loops are fun. I'm doing loops. I'm distracting myself from littering benches all over the place, but that's okay. It's necessary. I have the perfect shape for this. I don't even have to make it. It already exists in the program. I just need to put it in place. Look, it's perfect. Somewhat perfect. I could do with the ring itself being a little bit thinner. Is that 90 degrees? 90 degrees. There we go. I know, we're existing in a tree. It's kind of hard to see. I wish the loop was smaller. Is there a way to make the loop smaller? What if I... Oh. Not that. Maybe I need to Control A, all transformations. Let's try that again. Oh. No. I don't even know what's happening. What if I just delete? Hold on. Extrude those. I can delete those faces. Select those and what? I can just endlessly. Okay, that's not what I want. How does one handle this? Oh, oh, I could. Hold on. Hold on. Give me a second. Not material. We don't need material. We need to add a modifier. Deform. We could bevel it. Beveling it could be fun. It's not really making it smaller though. Maybe vertices? Oh, my computer has to think about that for a second. Yeah, I'm just kind of being difficult about this. I could definitely make this easier on myself. I might actually change what I'm doing because this is no longer the quick, easy solution that I thought it would be. Let's give my computer a second to think, and we can change what we're doing. This is wild. Yeah, I also redesigned my hometown every time. Titles. It's been a little bit I'm not redesigning my hometown per se. I'm redesigning someone else's hometown. Yeah, when I say my downtown, I mean for my story When It Rains. I'm designing the city for it. But this is based off of a real town in Maine called Ellsworth. So if you wanted to look at what the town normally looks like, you could do that. I've made some changes. I guess we could do circle. Circle's fine. I just feel like as cute as the downtown is, there's also areas where me personally, I would want things to be different. Where is this circle existing? Are you not a plane? Are you just a circle? Oh, wait. Is there something I could do to this? Skin? Sure, let's... Oh, wait, is this what I wanted? I think this is what I wanted. Why was the... Hold on, can I edit this, please? Why is it so much? This is vaguely what I want, but not really. Same, the cops don't really like it when I tried to make changes though. Yeah, no, they don't tend to. Kinda annoying. You want to make things better, right? And it's just, they have thoughts and opinions. How bizarre for them. Mesh deform, oh my goodness. Just wanted a circle plane, and it just gave me a circle. What am I supposed to do with this little hula hoop that has no substance? Solidify? We can make it thicker. That's cool. That's fun. Even thick. Can I fill this in, please? This is actually great. It's inspired me to continue my project that I stopped working on a week ago. I'm glad. I'm glad you're thinking about continuing a project. Continuing projects is fun. Please. They're also it's also nice when they work. Sure. We can scale that. Can we scale you up? No. Can we scale you sideways? We can scale you sideways. Can you have substance, please? I'm not allowed to have substance in my... Skin seemed to work somewhat, but it's like too much. Is there something else I could do? Remesh, solidify, triangulate. Maybe? I don't know. And we're in edit mode. Nothing good happens in edit mode. Well, actually, great things happen in edit mode. I'm just... This had potential, but this is also not working. Taking too long for a simple bike rack. I guess what I wanted was a cylinder all along. Why did I try and use a different shape? Why would I do that? I know what I need to do. I know how things work. Why am I making it difficult for myself? Please, sir. I want you. Go in. No. 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 I'll press the right button eventually. It'll be fine. Okay. And then face. I can make that a bit smaller. And then extrude. And then we can delete this. We cannot delete that. That was integral. Now what I need to do is navigate correctly. Grab this. Taper that in. And then we can do. Wait, no. Please. Delete that face. Cool. Awesome. And then we can bevel this. This was obviously the correct way to do this. No other option. This is fine. Maybe instead of bevel, I should shade auto smooth. Sure, that works. And then we can just make a whole bunch of these. I don't even know how big I want these to be. Because this is all well and good, except if I don't make this big enough, what bike is going to be healthier? How wide are these? Emotionally, it feels like they should be this wide. Logically, I don't know if this is correct. We'll just go with it, though. I can always fix it later if it's not correct. Don't know if this is too much bike parking, but when has there ever been too much bike parking? I swear these cubes keep getting bigger every time I spawn one in. This can anchor everything to the ground. Okay. How much are we floating at the moment? I don't think we're actually floating all that much. I think I made sure that was not a concern. Just a bit bigger. I think that is a pretty good bike rack. Oh, all of these are individuals. That is too much. Let's combine these together. I forgot I wasn't in edit mode for a second. There we go. Now we can move this away from the plant pot. Awesome. Some nice bike parking. How much is this gonna stick into the walkway though? Thinking about doing illogical things, like moving the whole entire building. I just need a better place for the bike racks. I don't need to move the entire building. Oh. That's a consideration. If I rotate these and they're not straight on, well, that wasn't good. If these were individual things, I could rotate them so then the bikes are more diagonal, so they don't take up as much of the walking space. Oh, it might not overhang as much as I'm concerned about. It should be fine. The walking space shouldn't be too impeded. Alright. Let's scatter some more benches. Does anyone else have any more ideas on where we could add some improvements to the downtown? Okay, let's flip this 180. Wrong bench. No, we do not want you in the building. People cannot sit on you if you are in the building. If I scooch these out a bit, I could sneak in a plant pot between them. Nope, I did not copy you. Nice. Scooch in. Oh, that's cute. I like that. I'm just trying to make it a nice little place to hang out. And I think we're succeeding so far. So did anyone recognize that the thumbnail for this video is a Emperor's New Groove reference? I was trying to make it look as if I was editing my own work. Okay. Let's... Feels slightly odd to have the benches facing inwards rather than outwards. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad place for it. You know, there's probably some person out there who's just upset of my placement of the street lamps. I think this is a more realistic size of the street anyway, because if I'm thinking about it, there was a middle turn lane, and that's also parking on both sides of the street. So I think me widening up the space to make it more walkable, while also including the bike paths, makes it more design friendly. What else could I add? I think the only other thing I can think of is maybe figuring out how to get those auto-generated line art for the sides of each building, so then I don't have to deal with trying to guess where some lines are. Let's see how the lighting is currently. Let me pull up the image for myself so I can see what angle I had taken this picture. Because this is not the correct angle. Hey. Ah, that's right. I moved the camera. Hold on, let's mess with this. Jeez, what did I do to this camera? I'm not selected the camera. Okay. Some of these... Oh. I don't need to change that, actually. Viewpoint display? Nope. Visibility, custom proportions, relations. There was some sort of lens. Where's the lens? Well, ever since I start messing around with cameras, I actually understand what some of these settings mean now. I don't want that clipping, actually. Oh. Wait, no. I don't want that clipping. This is fine. Nope. I think this is very close to the angle I had, actually. Did the buildings change? No, I was zoomed back a bit more. Okay. Seems a bit far, though my rotation might be slightly off. No. Okay. This is fine. How did I have this set up before? Oh, maybe the camera lens was slightly different. Literally, how did I get this angle? Night, Dad. I mean, as long as I'm happy with it, I guess it doesn't necessarily need to mimic this entire thing. Right. Let's not mess with scale. Scale's not necessary here. I just need to zoom back slightly. I was also seeing that street. How would... I don't understand. What was my angle? How was this positioned? Why is this so complicated? I was pretty much able to entirely see that. Wait. Wait. Ah. I don't need to mimic the angle completely, but it would be nice to be somewhat close. Close, and it shows the most lively state of this, I think. Yeah. This is good. Oh, I was able to see more of the top of the buildings, actually. What the heck? Please. Please, sir. I think I'm getting closer. It's a bit lower. There's some areas of buildings that I can't tell if I just fudge something, 'cause oh my goodness. This seems, yeah, I've got everything. Ah! What millimeter did I have the camera? Okay, I think that camera angle's pretty good. And then we can just widen this a bit. This is fine. We can just extrude this out a bit. That's fine. Scale? Not that way. Just needs something a little bit more visually going on. Not that way. In the back over here, so things don't look too empty. Those... wrong one. One of these days, I will remember what it is that I'm doing. Let's see that from the camera view again. Cool. I might need to have some buildings. Just... we're stuck in camera view. Lovely. Have some buildings pushed over here. That way we can visually see some stuff. want the bike path to continue? I didn't consider this. Because if we think about it, we should probably have the bike path run along the park. So if we only have it going down this middle area, we need an additional turn, which means then the street needs to become wider in this area. That, or I get rid of this one-way road for the cars, and I just make that for the bikes. I'm kind of fine with that. But I also do need to give cars some sort of access point to businesses in the back for their deliveries or whatever. Gotta run business. How bizarre. Needing supplies for their businesses. Hi! Welcome to the stream. Sorry if I didn't see your comment right away. I am working on some town design for my downtown area in my story called When It Rains. It exists in a small town in Maine, so I want it to make this a walkable city. Hence me going back in and changing things, because when I first designed this, I didn't necessarily design it everything as it could be. Moving the sun is annoying. I don't know if this is a correct sun position, because which way is the road facing? Is this correct positioning? Am I doing okay? I don't know. This is not specifically for an animation. This is a design for an animation concept. I personally don't want to make an entire animated series on this because that would be difficult, but I do want to at some point pitch the concept. So this is concept work for it. Okay. I think this is pretty good in terms of pictures. Can anyone think of anything that we might want to add to the cityscape while I'm here? Before I start doing a whole bunch of line art. I won't do the line art today, but before I go in and make a bunch of line art decisions, is this what we're happy with? I'm pretty happy with the design. I just need to everything about this is good. People? Yeah, the people are going to be added in the illustration. Personally, I'd move the lamps to line up with the others. You don't like that I have these two lamps out in the middle? see if I do that in other areas. I kind of do that over here so that there's a little bit of visibility over in the middle of the crosswalk area. Not sure if putting a lamp right in the middle here. Those specific two, but it's up to you. Okay. I don't generally hate it, but I do also know that it bugs people when things don't exactly line up. But I don't think things are exactly lined up anyway. In the way, like, I know this right here is gonna bother some people. This area right here is not symmetrical. It kind of bugs me, honestly. How would I do this differently? I just think about how people drive where I live, and I bet all money in the world, if they existed here, someone would hit it within the week. I think people hitting these lamps is better, though, than people hitting, like, the bikes. Because essentially this red line right here is a bike path. I mean, lamps should be on top of the pavement. It is on top of the pavement. Oh wait, they're floating. This always happens to me, I swear. Okay, hold on. We can scooch this down a bit. I think all of them are floating, actually. That's fun. But yeah, we have essentially these bike lanes, and I think having the lamps there to act as a visual and physical barrier for the bikes is good. I get what you mean, though. Not having them in line might be annoying. But I do like that not having the lamp over here means it's not getting in the way of the crosswalk. Because that was one of the annoying things when I was living in a bigger city areas, when the street lamps would get in the way of people walking. Not in the middle of the road. Oh, they're not in the middle of the road. So this is essentially a two-way street, very narrow. I want it to be very limited towards traffic. I don't want there to actually be that much in there. So then we have a bike lane, a crosswalk right here, and then this, you're right, this should be raised. I should have these should be raised, so then it looks less like it's part of the street. Hold on. We can fix that. We have the technology. Just need to make this a bit smaller. Push that down. I know people are gonna hate driving in this city, which is the entire point. If they hate driving here, that means they'll use some sort of other form of transportation, which does exist here. You want to ride your bikes? It's very friendly to ride your bike here. You wanna take the bus? You can take a bus. And then the city itself is just very nice to walk in. So even if you do end up walking, it's not a big hassle. Because I know sometimes when you're walking in a downtown area that's not well developed, it's just a pain walking up and down because it's so hostile feeling. And there's not much environment to enjoy. This is also making me realize the lamps perhaps are not in line with each other. And fly. Driving in cities is so much pain. Exactly. Especially if cars were built with cars in mind. Yeah. And I don't want this city to be built with cars in mind, because honestly, cities suffer when they're built with cars in mind. I just want to have a story where my main character can drive around in her bike on her bike. She can just ride her bike around and it'd be no issue, because the entire city was made with the idea that you can get around even if you don't have a car. I think this will work. There's a clip, and I don't appreciate it. There we go. Okay. Las Vegas was decent when I went there because it was built after cars, and also went to Philadelphia, Boston, and those cities were not, and parking was awful. Yeah. So the general idea is that cars can drive through the city if they need to in order to get to either the other side of town or to just if they're passing through. But then there's a bunch of parking on the outskirts of the cities with plenty of public transportation that is consistent, that goes into the main city area. So if you do want to drive into the city, you have the capability to, but then once you get closer to the city, you either drive through the middle or you drive around the outside, and then you find a place that's on the outside, and then you make your way in by foot. Yeah, that's the general idea anyway. I'm sure there's some city planner out there who could do a way better job than me with actually making sure everything is up to snuff and all good. But I like to think this visually at least looks like it's a pretty decent downtown area. So let's render this image, see how it looks. And I would say that is pretty darn good. Much better than the previous image. Let me see if I can pull the previous illustration up for you so you have a better idea of what we're going for. So we're going from this right here to then this. Let me add an image. Oh boy. Let me just quickly find it. There we go. So here's the previous illustration. And what we've got now. Hold on, let's make this a fair comparison and make sure yeah. Oh, that's why I forgot. I widened the street. I was like wondering why I couldn't get all the same buildings into frame and why I was struggling so hard with that. I widened the street, which means physically I can't get all the same buildings in frame. I'm just so silly. Was the previous one also a 3D model? Yes. So essentially, I just took the 3D model that I already made and then edited it. Made some changes to it. So, yeah. Hence why the cars are still in the same positions. Because I didn't change that. Alright, I think we are good for the evening. I did what I wanted to do. So I'm gonna save this to my When It Rains folder. Call this update 3D. And I think we're good for the evening. So much for joining the stream. I had a lovely time, and I'm very happy with how this turned out. I am planning on streaming again next week, and we're gonna be continuing working on this illustration, but next time we're gonna go in and start lining over everything, which means I might need to go back in and figure out how to add some lines in so I can visually see stuff. But that will be next week's problem. Thank you so much for joining. I will be streaming again same time next week, and if you wish to join, feel free. Other than that, have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.